Dear friends, it is a great privilege to welcome tonight Rabbi Dr. Dalia Marx, the Rabbi Aaron D. Pankin Professor of Liturgy and Midrash at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion's Toby Family Campus in Jerusalem. Dr. Marx, a 10th generation Jerusalemite, earned her doctorate at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem and her ordination at HUC-JIR in both Jerusalem and Cincinnati. She teaches in academic institutions throughout Israel and Europe, and of great significance to us, she is active in promoting liberal Judaism in Israel. Dr. Marx writes for both academic and popular journals and publications. She was the lead editor of the Israeli Reform Sidur Tefilat Adam. She is the author of When I Sleep and When I Wake on Prayers Between Dusk and Dawn, a feminist commentary on the Babylonian Talmud, and from time to time, Journeys in the Jewish Calendar, which has been translated into multiple languages. And tonight we will draw on her expertise on the holiday cycle as she teaches us about global traditions and local celebrations associated with Simchat Torah. Please welcome Rabbi Dr. Dalia Marx.
Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Rabbi Davidson, for this generous presentation, and for Rabbi Sepedin for the invitation. Thank you so much, dear clergy, and thank you, community, Kehilat Emanu-El. I am so moved and excited and privileged to celebrate with you the celebration of our Torah, our law, that Drachea Darchei Noam v'chol netivotei Shalom. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are free, are peaceful. This is what we sing also on the Torah service. Simchat Torah is the celebration of the Torah, and it is a good opportunity for all of us to contemplate, to think, to meditate. What is the Torah for me? What are the 5 books of Moses for me? But not just the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the Bible, all the history of the Jewish tradition, the law, the Torah in my life. Simchat Torah is also a very unique festival. Unlike most of our festivals and holidays, it is not mentioned in the Torah. It is not mentioned in the classical rabbinic material. It's not mentioned in the Mishnah or the Talmudim. It's not related to the land of Israel or to an historical event. It's not related to the agricultural rhythm of Jewish life. And it did not begin in the land of Israel. Unlike most of our festival, Simchat Torah is a creation of the diaspora. It's a diasporic festival. Is it the birthday of the Torah? Well, not quite, not quite. According to our tradition, the world was created in Rosh Hashanah, or the human being was created in Rosh Hashanah, but the Torah was created even before. The Torah is the plans, says the Midrash, according to which God created the world. But what about the Chagigah, the celebration of the Torah? What about Simchat Torah? If you entered now a time machine and went to the land of Israel, went to Palestine 1,000 years ago and asked about Simchat Torah, probably people would not know what you're talking about. But if you took the same time machine and went to Babylon, people would know about Simchat Torah. And how is that? Simchat Torah, as I said, was created in the diaspora because it symbolizes the completion of reading the entire Torah portions. We have 54 Torah portions. The Torah is divided into 54 portions, and we complete the reading of the Torah after 1 year. But that's only in Babylon. At that time, in the land of Israel, it took 3.5 years to read the entire Torah. And it was much more flexible. They did not talk about portions of the Torah. They talked about sdarim, orders of the Torah. And if you went to the Galilee on these days, on these years, You could celebrate the completion of the reading of the Torah every week in a different synagogue. You could have herring and bagel every week in a different place. Probably not herring and bagel, but I don't know, burekas. Yeah, the Palestinian, the Eretz Israel cycle of the reading of the Torah was much more fluid than that in Bavel. But Bavel prevailed, and we celebrate today according to the Babylonian cycle. But in fact, in our Reform communities, we have a unique and beautiful combination of these two cycles. In most Reform congregations, we read only 1/3 of the portion. So we complete the Torah, we complete the portions of the Torah every year, but we complete the entire Torah, it takes us 3 years. So I think we see a very interesting dynamic of relationship between the land of Israel, the Jews of Eretz Israel, and the Jews of the diaspora, the two main centers of the Torah, the two main centers of Jerusalem, of Judaism. Today, we have also two very strong centers of Judaism, one in North America, in the United States mostly, and one in Israel. And I think that we need to pay very good attention to the relationship between the two. And I'm embarrassed to say, as an Israeli Jew, that we don't do enough to include you, our brothers and sisters, in the conversation. The ways things are in my country these days, we need to do a better job to include you. I was here in Temple Emanu-El in 1988, I told your Rabbi some time ago, and there was only one flag. So I was so moved in February to see the flag of Israel. And I know that it's not easy these days to include this with everything that happens in Israel, but I will get to it in a second. So we see the combination of the two systems, the Babylonian system and the land of Israel system, into one, in order to create a situation that drachea darchei noam v'chol netivotea shalom, her ways are pleasant ways and all her paths are shalom. But why do we celebrate Simchat Torah precisely today? Why right after Sukkot? Well, one answer could be because we need to celebrate it sometime, so why not today? But it's not a very good answer because we know, and if you ask your rabbis here and your cantors, they'll tell you that this is such a busy time of the year. Why now? The second explanation is that there was in the time of the Talmud, there was not a fixed calendar. Every month had to be declared when the month begins, when the year begins, and it took some time to pass the news unto the communities in the diaspora. So you have a Yom Tov Sheni, you have a second day of the festival in the diaspora. In many Reform congregations, we don't observe it now because we have a fixed calendar, so why would we need it? But if you think about it, we just celebrated the Chag, now the next day we're going to do the same thing all over again? Difficult. So in many communities, the second day of the diaspora acquired extra content. And that's how Simchat Torah came to be in the second day of Shmini Atzeret, after Shmini Atzeret. On Shmini Atzeret, which is the day after Sukkot, we begin to mention rain in our prayers because in the land of Israel, this is the rainy season. You know, in Israel, we don't talk about 4 seasons. We talk about 2 seasons. We talk about the rainy season and the dry season. And that's where we start mentioning rains in our prayers, and we're going to stop on Pesach. But again, maybe this is not a good enough answer, because we could do it on Yom Tov Sheni of Passover. Why Dafka? Why precisely on Sukkot? I wanted to suggest that there is an intimate and very significant reason to celebrate Simchat Torah today. Why? This is not the day of the reception of the Torah. This is not Matan Torah. The Torah was given to us according to our tradition in Shavuot. But what happened in Shavuot? Moses came down from the mountain after 40 days, he didn't eat and he didn't sleep, with his 2 tablets, and what did he see? The Israelites worshiping the golden calf, and angrily he broke the the Torah tablets. Then he went up again to get the second set of tablets. But this set of tablets was different because it was a collaboration between the divine and the human, collaboration between God and Moses. And according to our tradition, he came down with the second set of tablets on Yom Kippur. So technically speaking, we should have celebrated Simchat Torah on Yom Kippur. But ask your rabbis if we could add anything else to Yom Kippur. I don't think they would be happy about the idea. So we wait until Yom Kippur ends, and then we have Sukkot. And the following day, we have Simchat Torah. So that makes sense, I think. But I want to add another suggestion. Why Simchat Torah, and why now? Simchat Torah, as we said, is on the same day or the following day of Shmini Atzeret. On Shmini Atzeret, we have the prayer for rain, and we start mentioning rains in our tradition. Consider this very unique combination between Geshem, between rains and the Torah. Geshem, rain, in Hebrew is Geshem, which means something that is material, something that is concrete. And the Torah is spiritual. So we connect the spiritual and the concrete together. This is a very strong bond. Unlike other traditions that have a clear cut between the spiritual and the physical, we bring them together. So the Geshem that sustains our life, that gives us crops in the fields, gives us food and sustenance, and the Torah that fills our hearts and fills our souls, because her paths are pleasant and all her ways are pleasant and all her paths are shalom. Torah belongs to everyone. It belongs to Jewish communities from all over the world. It belongs to Israeli Jews, to American Jews, to Orthodox, conservative, Reform. It belongs to secular Jews. It belongs to atheist Jews. It belongs to everyone. It belongs to non-Jews who choose the Torah. Why? Because her paths are peaceful, because her ways are pleasant ways. But not everyone understands the Torah the same way, and not always her paths are peaceful ways. Not in the state of Israel of our days. Israel knew many, many eras and epochs and times of difficulties and occasionally existential danger. Today, October 6th, marks the 50 years of the Yom Kippur War, which I remember very vividly. I was 7 years old. We heard the siren. My younger brother and sister did not understand what was going on. I understood. I looked at my mom, and without saying a word, we went to the bomb shelter. My father, on the other hand, went and got his military kit back and went directly to his unit, which served in the Sinai area. We were not sure that Israel will survive that, but we have. And due to the Yom Kippur War, all kinds of very difficult questions began to be asked. Today we also are facing an existential danger, but now not from without. Now the danger is from within. And also we fear, some of us fear, that Israel will not prevail it. Today we live in an unprecedented era where Israel is ruled by supremacists, racist, sexist, homophobe, and religious fundamentals. Their path is not Darchei Noam, pleasant path. They speak in a Jewish language that is foreign to you and to me. They demand gender segregation, not only in their synagogues, but also in national parks and in the public realm. They defend the killer of the settler who killed the family of the Wabshe, and they call him Kadosh. They call him a saint. Not all of them, of course, but quite a few of them. Many Israelis are harming Palestinians who wish to cultivate their own fields. Lately, we hear about difficult cases of Israelis spitting on monks and priests in my city of Jerusalem. They seek to set their way through means of intimidation and coercion. A lot of Israeli Jews say, if this is Judaism, I don't want any part of it. Last week, I lectured in the Dormition Abbey in Jerusalem, the beautiful church in Jerusalem, to Christian theology students. And I invited them to come with us, Rabbis for Human Rights. We have a month of olive harvest in the territories, and we help the Palestinians against settler aggressions. At the end of the lecture, a very sweet young woman said to me, "Do you even want us here?" I said, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "Every time I leave the church, the people from the next door yeshiva, which is the settler yeshiva, says to me, go away from here. We don't want you here." "Do you even want us here?" she asked me. I said to her, "I don't want you here. I need you here, because without you, this is not the Jerusalem I know. This is not the Jerusalem where I grew up. This is not the Jerusalem of my ancestors, as you heard 10 generations ago." Jerusalem is a beautiful tapestry of religious and peoples, and there's still a lot of work to be done. We in the reform movement in Israel are fighting against all these very dangerous attitudes. We fight for open, pluralistic Judaism, Judaism that seeks justice, Judaism that asks questions. These days are difficult for us in Israel. Just like 50 years ago in 1973, we experienced a real threat on the state of Israel as we know it, and we fight over the mere existence of Israel as a democratic state. For 9 months, 40 weeks, we go out every week to the streets, every Shabbat night, and sometimes during the week, to protest. And we wear this shirt. On one side it says, the Reform Movement, the Reform Center of Religious Action. And on the other side it says, Beshem HaYahadut nagen al HaDemokratya. In the name of Judaism, we will defend democracy. There are other ways to be Jewish. Before the demonstrations begin, before the drums begin, before shouting and anger, and before the speakers begin, we begin with Havdalah service. At the beginning, first few weeks, people looked at us with suspicious. Are you like them? But then they saw men and women together, and we pray together, and we invite everyone, including non-Jews. So I think something is happening. Even in this very scary environment, or maybe because of this very scary environment, people are drawing near, people are willing to ask questions. Maybe, just like after the 73 war, questions we avoided from asking about state and religious, about our treatment of the Palestinians, about hegemony and margins, now we have to ask them, and we have to ask them in the most intensive way. And I'm standing here today to thank you for the involvement, to thank you for your commitment. This is not obvious to me at all. And I'm here to ask you, don't give up on us. The state of Israel and Israeli Jews are not the same as what you see in the government today. And we're not the same as what you see in the actions of some extremist people here. And for the first time in a long time, we see very beautiful collaboration of Israeli Jews and Jews from many kihilot in the world. Help us, teach us the beautiful Judaism that you have, Judaism that is open, Judaism that is welcoming, Judaism that is inclusive. We have a lot to learn from you. Don't give up on us. Stay with us and teach us, because we really need you. Friends, our Torah is a Torah of peace, and her ways are pleasant. But there are also very difficult things in the Torah. We see a lot of cases of disbelief and anger and hatred and tragedy. Moses himself doesn't enter the land of Israel. The Torah ends when he looks at the land of Israel and dies alone on one of the mountains. But the end of the Torah is not the end of the story. Because what do we do when we finish reading the Torah? We start all over again. We read the story again. We read the story again and we ascribe new meanings to it. But we also, the next day, on Simchat Torah itself, the Haftarah, the prophetic reading, is the next chapter. Next chapter is from the book of Joshua. So we continue the Torah and we repeat the Torah. We repeat the Torah in our own terms. That's what we are doing. We are never staying a moment without our sweet and beautiful Torah. And we will also remain with our Torah, with our Jewish Torah, with our Zionist Torah, and we will make it a sweet Torah of Chaim, of life. We will make sure that our Torah, her paths are pleasant paths, and her ways are peaceful. Shabbat Shalom v'Chag Sameach.